Hello and welcome to On the Break. I'm here alongside Joel and Joel Embiid. We are here to talk about the second round of basketball today. And okay, it's Thursday or it's Friday. What day is it? I don't even know anymore. But
Friday.
we've had a few. The Celtics Raptors are in Game 3, so I'm not calling this a preview like last time. But we're going to talk about best of our abilities. The Bucks and the Heat play later. We'll get to that. But I mean, forget how you're doing. Let's go into it this time. The Celtics and the Raptors Game 3 yesterday. The Celtics advanced after whooping the Philadelphia 76ers. That's Mike right there. It's been a minute for him. And
How's it going, Mike?
Mike, I know you're sad about your Sixers. It's been a while. You still haven't gotten over it. But the Celtics are up 2-1. They should be up 3-0 after completely blowing the game on a defensive mishap, letting OG Anunoby, I can't even say his name properly,
you got it right.
3-point. I think I did. I'm proud of myself.
You got it right.
I heard his name plenty of times after that buzzer beater on Celtics Twitter. So, but you know what? Mike, I'll give the floor to you because you made the grand entrance. What do you think about this Celtics game so far? And I'll give you a little Sixers rant if you want to. That's up to you. But after this buzzer beater from the Celtics playing phenomenal. They should have won the game, but they didn't. Kemba Walker made a ridiculous pass to Daniel Tice. I was hyped, and then I was sad. So, Mike, how you feeling today? What's going on?
Well, there's always a silver lining in every cloud. At least Brett Brown got fired. That's all I got to say about the Sixers.
Hey, there you go. Focus on positive.
New coach coming. Maybe we'll make a video when that comes up.
Exactly. But, one thing to know about the Celtics is that just their defense has been outstanding. Ever since they got in the playoffs, the highest points they allowed is to my Sixers, which was about 106 points, and that was a game for where it haven't even mattered. And as soon as they just hopped in against the series against the Raptors, name one besides the last game that just happened where OG shot the buzzer beater, where it has been close. The Celtics have been just completely dominant. And honestly, if you can say right now, I think there's not really much of an argument you can make where the Celtics are honestly the best team right now in the East. I don't know if there's any other team or they are honestly the team to beat in the East right now. Great defense and 5 words too. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. My goodness, have they showed up. My goodness. Kemba Walker and 2 of them, they've been really carrying this team. Yesterday, honestly, I thought it was kind of a fluke. The Raptors escaped with the game with 1 game, but am I really sold on the Raptors taking this series? Not really. I think the Celtics honestly have have the better overall team. I think they honestly have the top defense right now in this playoff so far when you look at the stats. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they've just been playing fantastic, and I think they're the team to beat right now. I think they're on fire. I think, honestly, the Celtics can take it in 5.
5 games, Joel. What you got?
No, honestly, I totally agree. I feel like last night it was a fluke. It was it was 0.5 seconds left on the clock, and had he not hit that 3, the series is over. Let's face it, the series is over. Boston wins,
exactly,
and you face Miami or the Bucks. And honestly, no. When I look at the Boston Celtics, I could see them beating the Heat or the Bucks. I could see them beating both of them. I can't say that about the Toronto Raptors. I honestly cannot say that. Especially, I understand technically if you think about it from last year, they look kind of like more or less the same team that they did last year, their championship team. But no, I don't think you're going to end up beating Kawhi Leonard if you make it to the finals and Kawhi's there or the guy who beats him is there. I don't think you're going to be able to withhold Giannis or Jimmy Butler and the rest of his shooters. I don't think you're going to be able to contain them. I cannot see Toronto making the championship run they did last year. Now, when it comes to the Celtics, they have all the potential in the world. Now you look at their roster. Gordon Hayward is back, right?
He's recovering. He's in the bubble currently, but he may come back.
Because I didn't see him leave.
Yeah.
So Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart even. He's been playing out of his mind recently. He's been shooting a lot of threes. I've seen him.
Yeah, Marcus
he's
Smart's
cooking.
been a sleeper.
He's cooking up right now. Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum, and even Daniel Tice has been playing very solid at center. What weaknesses does this team really have? If you think about it, what weaknesses do they really have? I can't name many or any at all. I can't. Like, I look at Boston and I see, like, teams that they could potentially beat, that they may potentially face. I see them beating all of them. Like, there's not a question that Boston, like, me, Makush. I hate Boston. I hate the Celtics.
Oh, I know. I love it.
I hate them. But I'll admit, come on, like, they're probably, like you said, Mike, they're probably the best team in the East right now. They probably are.
Yeah, the Celtics have just been – they're the absolute best team, all-around team with all their players.
All
together.
around.
They play the best together in the East. Now, I remember me, Nico, and Charles said on the last first-round preview that none of these Eastern Conference teams have the ability to beat the Clippers or the Lakers. But with the way that the Heat and the Celtics have both been playing, if they play like that against the Clippers or Lakers, who haven't been very impressive except for the Clippers against the Nuggets last night, the Lakers were not impressive against the Trailblazers. The Clippers were not impressive against the Mavericks. They went to 6. They both went to 6. The Celtics should beat the Raptors in 4, if not for an OG Anunoby ridiculous three-pointer. So
it was lucky. It was
a lucky play. Kyle Lowry somehow threw the ball over 7'5" Taco Fall. I don't get it. Jason Tatum had a mishap on defense, losing his man. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen happen to the Boston Celtics, beside a Chris Middleton double contested three-pointer in one of those playoffs a few years ago. I mean, the Celtics just have those weird fluke moments where the games get tied and go to overtime, or they lose the game somehow in a series. But every time the Celtics have this happen, they wake up and they say, we got to play Celtic basketball and we got to beat this team next time. I expect a blowout from the Celtics in Game 4. I know I'm a Celtics fan, but I expect it 100%. But you also say for the Raptors, this could bounce them back. But even Kyle Lowry said, we got to play harder. He basically said, interviewed after the game, said, we sucked that game. We somehow won that game and clawed back. And here they are. You're down 2-1. You're down 2-1. Yeah. That's the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely for, like, the Raptors, too. Definitely a great point you brought up, Makuch, too, because when you're playing against a team in a defense like the Boston Celtics, the way they're playing right now, you can't be always coming from behind and winning like a fluke like it was last night. You can't be giving the ball to OG to shoot the game the buzzer beater at the end, especially with a defense like that. If you get so accustomed to playing behind against, like, especially like the Celtics or maybe even the Heat, too, you're going to get lost and you're going to easily blow the series. And like Makuch said, I definitely think that the Celtics are going to get back on track, wake up, and they're going to blow out the Raptors next game.
They're going to blow them out. I'm telling you right now, they're going to blow them out. Like,
it's going to be fun. Unless if the Raptors somehow have some last year's magic. But the Raptors don't have a guy, in my eyes, that's going to go get a bucket. Maybe Kyle Lowry, but not like when they had Kawhi last year. You know, if you're
and they even had a corner specialist in Danny Green even. Who do you have now?
They don't really have that anymore. OG somehow did it, but he was wide open on a three that all three of us. Well, I don't want to say all three of us could have made it because I know we would have airballed that three, but anybody can make that three on a given day that open. So if you're contested with 0.5 seconds left in the slightest, you're most likely not making the shot, especially if you're OG Anunoby. So. But the Celtics have 3 guys that can go get you a bucket. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kemba Walker. Cardiac Kemba, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown, one of the better defenders. And you mentioned Marcus Smart. I just want to say Marcus Smart is the most underrated player in the entire NBA. He is the grittiest player in basketball. He was lights out in Game 2 from 3. And he does everything for the Celtics. If Marcus Smart was not on the Celtics, I don't even know if they would be out of the first round.
I feel like he only gets recognition only because of 2 things. 1, he's on a good team, and 2, he gets into a lot of fights.
I mean, well, look back at Oklahoma State. He punched a fan at Oklahoma State. I'm not going to say he did it, but his defense and the way, like, it's the perfect piece to the puzzle of the Boston Celtics. He completes the Boston Celtics. They don't lack anything with him. He plays wherever. He plays on the bench, but he'll play with the starting team plenty of times.
Yeah, I don't think he starts, right?
When they play small without Tice sometimes, they might put him in a shooting guard.
They might, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, like, Marcus Smart is definitely like a secret weapon. He's just been doing his thing, you know. He's been balling out, and there's nothing you could say else about it. He's been doing really good.
The guard version of Zach Randolph, in my opinion. If that makes sense.
Zach Randolph. Zach Randolph.
But just being gritty and going after every ball that's on the floor. If there's
I
a ball on the
sort of
floor, Marcus
understand
Smart
what
will be
you're-
on that pile.
I sort of understand what you're trying to say.
Marcus Smart is, just a grit and grinder. That
I
kind
like
of
Zach
player.
Randolph.
Always loved him. Always loved Zebo.
Oh,
Junkyard
Zebo.
Dog. That was my guy. But I think that's enough about the Boston Celtics. I know you're going to call me biased for being a Celtics fan, but it's just the way it is. You have a Sixers fan saying these things about the Celtics. They're real.
I'm not even arguing the Celtics.
And
the way the
Celtics, a team that we thought was going to be real is a pretender so far. The Milwaukee Bucks down 2-0 against the Miami Heat. We all said the Miami Heat, a lot of us, or the Miami Heat were a dark horse. But if you had to go to Vegas and put money on it, who's really betting on the Heat? Everybody thought that the Bucks were the clear favorite in the Eastern Conference because everybody expected Giannis Antetokounmpo to drop 50 points a game somehow, and he's been an absolute disappointment. But I don't want to put the blame on him because his supporting cast hasn't been playing that well against Miami as well.
They haven't. They haven't
been shooting the ball well. Chris Middleton has not been great. He's not been that number 2 in the playoffs. I will say, Richard Jefferson did say that Giannis is a Pippen. That is wrong. Okay, let's not go that far.
That is a stupid quote.
No,
we're not going that far. But Giannis needs a real ball handling guard, I think, on his team. George Hill's a great shooter, but he's not a guy that can go handle the ball and score and get a bucket at point guard, right? Like consistently. George Hill's a shooter. Chris Middleton's a shooter. Kyle Korver is a shooter. Pat Connaughton is a dunker and a shooter. But they have a lot of shooters. They don't have a lot of ball handlers, in my opinion.
Honestly, if you think about it, the second best player on the Bucks as of lately, it's weird to say, it's been Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
It really has been. It's
Brook
been Brook
Lopez has
Lopez.
been doing his thing, honestly.
Like he's been doing his thing. He hits corner threes. He hits some contested threes here and there. He makes them.
You saw some of the games. I saw in some of the games. He's been hitting his threes.
He's a great shooter,
and
he plays his role. That's his thing.
And let's not forget, because a lot of people forgot this. For majority of the regular season last year, there were times where people were actually putting him in contendership for Defensive Player of the Year because of how good he was at blocking.
Yeah.
Literally, how good he was at blocking and rebounding. I believe he was at top 5 for blocks per game for majority of the season.
The all-time leading scorer in the history of the Brooklyn Nets. That's Brook Lopez. It's weird, but it's Brook Lopez. But he's been great, but the Bucks haven't. I think we're all going to predict that the Miami Heat are going to take this series in 5 or 6. Now, I will say I don't think the Bucks are dead. I think you're about to say the same thing I'm about to say, actually. But
okay. Yeah. You want me to say or you want
to? You go, man.
I'm sorry.
You go.
I was just gonna say one thing. In defense of the Bucks, they got robbed in Game 2.
Okay,
they got absolutely robbed. They got absolutely robbed Game 2. That was not a. Jimmy Butler is one of my favorite players in the NBA. I'm telling you right now, he was not fouled. He was not fouled at all. No, he was not. That was stupid. That game should have gone to overtime.
But there was also a dumb call. It was a weird call that you don't usually see. The possession before was Chris Middleton getting fouled on a 3.
And then I don't know. I feel like that game was just a mess to begin with. And it was I feel like, okay, that Chris Middleton shot was okay, you know what? Game's tied. It's whatever. Let's go to overtime. And then you foul Jimmy Butler. And it's you really let the Miami Heat win of a free throw.
Yeah.
I was like,
they still made him shoot the second one too. I would have just walked off the court.
I was had this been differently, this series could literally be tied right now, and we wouldn't be knocking on the Bucks, really.
Yeah. And also too, Jimmy Butler, when you look at his stats from Game 2, he didn't put up an amazing game or anything.
Yeah, not really.
He's just a dog. Though he's just a leader of that team. He's the leader that Heat team has needed for a long time, and
for real.
He's just that guy that brings them all together. Kind of like Marcus Smart, but actually good. No, Marcus Smart's great. I'm saying my thing about Marcus Smart.
But actually good.
Yeah. Well, as a star, I mean, Marcus Smart is not a star by any means.
At an all-star level, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Butler's your all-star. He's your superstar. I'll say it.
Yeah. And also, if you want to talk about Game 1 too, Jimmy Butler dropping 40 and also Dragic dropping 27-2. Both of them have really been carrying the team on their back. They just both been playing lights out, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, they've been great. So I'm going to say Miami in 6 right now because I don't think the Bucks are going to just fall over and die like a lot of people think they will. The Bucks are not going down easily, and I think they will take the series to 6, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I could see that. Yeah, I definitely could see 6. I can maybe see like the Bucks maybe taking one more game, but other than that, I honestly see the Heat honestly dominating most of the series because just the way the Heat been playing, especially the way they just like literally booted the Pacers as far as they could out of the playoffs. Like, it's kind of hard. Like, I feel bad for Giannis. His supporting cast has been okay at best. I mean, Middleton's been very hot and cold. Brook Lopez has been doing his thing, but also, who else do you have other than that on the team? Eric Bledsoe. He's not really going to do much for you. Honestly, when you really compare both rosters, I think, honestly, when the way the Heat are playing right now, I think the Heat is definitely going to take the series. Probably in 6, I could see that. Maybe in 5 if they really just push it, you know?
Yeah.
I got a little prediction here. For Game 3. Okay, when exactly is Game 3? Is it tonight?
Tonight at 6:30. We're about 2 hours away from it, actually.
Oh, we're 2 hours. Here's what I'll say about the Milwaukee Bucks. If they win this game and Giannis drops like 40 points or like 50-something points, I feel like Bucks are going to win the rest of the games. I feel like Bucks are going to win the rest.
So if the Bucks dominate this game, you think the Bucks will take the series?
I feel like Bucks will take the series. I feel like once you get Giannis on a roll, he's not going to stop. I feel like once you get Giannis on a roll, then that's what I'm thinking. I feel like if that happens, obviously if the Heat win, I feel like the series is over. I feel like series is going to be over. Miami wins.
No one's ever come back from 3-0.
Yeah.
If the Bucks win tonight and Giannis dominates, then you have a series now. You have a series now, and Miami, you're in trouble if that happens tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think if Giannis can definitely get back on track and, like Joel said, drop 40 or 50, I honestly think this will definitely become a series. The games will get a lot more interesting now. The Bucks aren't going to fall behind as much. And honestly, if they're able also to contain Dragic and Jimmy Butler, I think, honestly, the Bucks can maybe take it to 7.
Yeah, I think it's very possible.
For Giannis, at least, this is going to prove to see if you're a great player or you will be one of the best players. I don't want to see you drop 25, 30. I want to see you drop 50. I want to see you drop 55. I want to see you drop like 45. I need you to dominate this game. Yeah. This is going to show, are you just a good player, are you a great player, or are you going to be one of the best players we've ever seen?
Yeah, I think that those are high expectations for Giannis, but when you're regarded as the future of the NBA, you need those expectations.
You need them.
And
exactly.
2 teams that we also have high expectations for, the Lakers and the Clippers, both the ones and I think they're the 2, yeah, and the Clippers. Now, we'll start with the Clippers and the Nuggets, and the Nuggets came into this series having played the Jazz in 7. Not a lot of rest for the Nuggets. The Clippers are pretty rested after beating the Mavericks. Unfortunately, they beat the Mavericks. I really want to see Luka advance to the playoffs, but he'll have his time. He'll have his time when he's MVP next season.
I did too.
Yeah.
Well, by the way the Nuggets played on the other day on the game 1 against the Clippers, you could definitely tell they were tired.
They were very tired. They lost 97 to 120. They got blown out by the Clippers. They're down 1-0. And I just don't think that – I don't know if the Nuggets have a shot against the Clippers. I think –
No.
I mean, if I have to give you a spoiler, it's going to be Clippers-Lakers. I think we all know what it's going to be, right? But
probably.
Yeah, but the Clippers, I mean, Pandemic P, Paul George, became
playoff
well.
P.
Yeah, he actually is playing pretty well.
Showed up.
That was the only reason the Mavericks series was close, was how bad he was playing. If Paul George was Paul George, Clippers in 4 against the Mavericks, in my opinion. But now that Paul George is playing well, I don't think the Nuggets have a shot. I don't even think you can spend too much time on it. I'm going to go Clippers in 5. I think the Nuggets might take the next game. But, I mean, Jamal Murray doesn't have any more 50-point games left in him, or else this is the greatest playoff run I've ever seen from a player.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be honest with you, though, when you really, again, if you just compare both rosters, I think the Clippers just blow them out of the water. And you could even say 5 if the Nuggets, show up. I think Jokic and Murray could put up maybe one more good game. But if we're really talking reality, if the Clippers really steamroll them like they did on Game 1, honestly, I think Clippers sweep.
Just factor in rest and everything too with the Nuggets. I just don't see they have a shot. Joel, what you got?
No, honestly, like looking at I was watching ESPN when Scott Van Pelt, he was interviewing Jamal Murray after the Jazz win after he won against the Jazz. They won the series, and Scott Van Pelt was basically like, oh, now you guys are gonna play Thursday, and Jamal Murray, looking as tired as he is, he goes, "We play Thursday."
Yeah.
Like he was so genuinely upset that they had to play Thursday, and then they get blown out. They got blown out, and it's like these guys are exhausted. Like, of course,
they should have had it pushed back to when it would usually play. I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know how you do it. How you play such short notice. I get
these guys are exhausted.
Fill the bubble, but yeah, they're exhausted. Maybe the NBA just really wants the Clippers in there, but we'll see.
And it's not like you have a rest day. It's not like you have a rest day or anything like that. Like just to chill for a minute in the hotel room, just relax. No, you got to go back to practice.
You got to go back to practice.
Yeah, exactly. Too. It's like also like weightlifters too. Like you want to skip leg day, but you still want to do it. You still got to do it. Like that's basically the Nuggets walking into the Clippers, like for real.
So any rest time for the Nuggets is going to be greatly taken and appreciated from them. I mean, it's a lot easier to rest when you're in Disney World usually, but it's just I think the main factor is the rest, and now the Clippers are up 1-0 and they're a lot more ready and rested. I just don't see the Nuggets being able to overcome that. I like their future. I like where they're headed, especially with Michael Porter Jr., who's been a bit disappointing, Joel. I know you love him, but Jamal Murray has a ton of potential as a scorer. That team has so much, again, I'll say it for the third time, potential. This is where it ends. This is where the Nuggets run ends. I'm sorry, Denver. I love you. But it's time for you to leave the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So another team is going to get out of the playoffs, the Rockets. Wait, no, what you got, Joel? You got something else?
No, I was just going to say, like, originally, I wanted the Jazz to win the series, to be honest with you.
Oh, me too.
Like,
me too.
I wanted the Jazz to win, but I like Denver, though.
Yeah.
I think they're a good team.
I like Donovan Mitchell a lot more, but that's besides the point.
They're getting clapped anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, all of us. Yeah, big pause. But
Donovan Mitchell, there's been hints saying that he might get a max contract soon. They might work out an extension with him.
He deserves that contract. Deserves it every
time. Donovan Mitchell's been such a solid player. I think he does.
Love him. Love him so much. He's a Mets fan, so I like him a lot. I think his father played for the Mets or something, but whatever. The Rockets and the Lakers. The second greatest player of all time in LeBron James is playing the James Harden, who a lot of people overhype. Yeah, we're all just kind of got this look saying, like, listen, Lakers in 4. Okay? Anthony Davis against P.J. Tucker. Can you comprehend that? Anthony Davis will have one-on-one matches with P.J. Tucker. Anthony Davis is going to have a 50-point game in this series. Might not even need to.
JaVale McGee's going to get like 50 rebounds.
It's bad.
It's basically like the senior. It's basically like the seniors in high school, literally taking the freshman, throwing them up against the locker. That's literally what Anthony Davis will do to PJ Tucker.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I like Robert Covington, but you have.
I like Robert Covington too.
The best big man. Oh, I know you do. You're Sixers fan, but that's besides the point.
Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco. He's been a great player. He's been great is a little exaggerated, but he's had his moments.
He's a solid player.
Great paint defense.
He's solid.
And the Lakers need to be stopped by somebody like that. If the Rockets are on shooting-wise, which the Lakers have not been. The Lakers have not shot the basketball well. So if you catch the Lakers on a bad night, or even if the Rockets, I think if the Rockets are consistently hot from 3, they might have a shot to win the first half of a game. But realistically, the Rockets can take a game. Okay, definitely.
I think so too. I think my honest prediction is probably going to be Lakers in 5, but I think it's just going to be 4-1. I think the Lakers are just going to overly just dominate the series.
I just don't think that the shooting is going to be able to overcome the paint mismatch of Anthony Davis. I mean, the Rockets did beat the Lakers in the regular season, but it's just when you put them in a playoff situation and you play them over and over and over and over again, you wear them down. Maybe the Rockets take game 1, right? Completely possible if they do that tonight, because this will be the first time the Lakers have played against the Rockets in a while, and they might come with a new style, the Rockets, right? They won't be able to stop it.
Yeah.
The Lakers shoot the ball rough for a night, you lose a game. But if LeBron James, if they go down 1-0 tonight, LeBron James is going to come back strongly. I know the way it's just what he does in the playoffs.
It's what he does.
It's just you just know what he's gonna do. Even at this age, he's still LeBron James.
I will say one thing though. I am not going to be sleeping on the Rockets in this series. I look at James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I'm looking at these two guys. This is the first time Russell Westbrook has been in the second round in like 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like I think since that finals, or no, since Kevin Durant left him.
Since Kevin Durant left.
Yes.
And I'm now looking at. I've said this a million times. The Rockets are such an intriguing team because you got PJ Tucker as your starting center. It's they got no big man, and they're freaking winning.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but I look at the Rockets and I see them like their main strategy is just to try and outplay them, outshoot them, try to get the defense exhausted.
Definitely outshoot.
And so far, it's been working. It's been working. If you ask me, I feel like OKC should be in the situation because I feel like they should not have won Game 7. I don't think they should have. But
you had a rough inbound play with the Thunder.
Rough inbound. But Rockets are now here, and now I'm looking at Rockets versus the Lakers. I'm not gonna sleep on the Rockets. I don't feel like they could take one game. I feel like they could take like 3. I feel like this series can go to Game 7.
It's tough when you look at the matchups on the perimeter from the guard spots with the Rockets. Are you going to have LeBron guard James Harden? Who's going to guard Russell Westbrook? Are you going to rely on Anthony Davis stopping Russell Westbrook in the paint? It's going to be weird to that's my thing. The Rockets are either going to get absolutely demolished. This is either going to 4 or 5 or 7. It's going to be a tough 5.
Yeah, you look at the forwards and the centers from the Rockets, them going against Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis. Come on, the Lakers are going to cream them there. But when it comes to their guards position, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has to guard Russell Westbrook.
That's the thing.
That's what I'm saying too.
James Harden has to be guarded by Danny Green or Alex Caruso. The Rockets are going to destroy them in that sense. So what happens now? You have an odd shift here.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't necessarily say and LeBron James, he could play both. He could play guard, he could play forward. He could guard both sides of the ball. So it's will the Lakers end up sweeping them? I feel like it's either, for instance, if the Lakers end up winning Game 1, I feel like it's going to be a sweep. But if the Rockets win and then Lakers win or whatever, I feel like it's going to go to 7. Yeah, there's a potential of it going to 7.
Game 1 is going to really. I know this is how most series usually go, but it's really going to set the tone for this series. If the Rockets, even the Rockets make it close, it's going to be okay. Wait a minute, let's see what this team can do. Give it a bit more time.
Exactly.
I don't have a lot of confidence in the Rockets. I think it's very intriguing, but I know I said Rockets in 5 or 4. Or Lakers in 4. Wow, Rockets in 4 would be insane. But
oh my God,
here's the thing: the Blazers took the Celtics. What's going on with me right now? The Blazers took the Lakers to 6. We got it out this time. And who says the Rockets can't do it? I know the Blazers had a better big man matchup, but that perimeter matchup is scary, man. That's my thing.
That's one thing too, because when you honestly look at the stat lines of Danny Green and Caldwell Pope, they have not been good.
They've been playing cold.
They have not, especially Caldwell Pope. He has been an atrocity on the perimeter.
He shot the ball awful.
He usually is, but wow.
That's what I'm saying. Also, Danny Green hasn't really given much to the team either. The only way you're going to be able to score on the Rockets, they're basically just going to score in the points. It's going to be a bunch of LeBron James and just Anthony Davis doing most of the work. But that's one thing. Joel brings up a great point too. The matchups on the perimeter could be a changer. Who knows? But like Recruit said also, I'm not entirely invested in the Rockets. So also too, who do you have to stop LeBron James and Anthony Davis?
Exactly.
That duo is nearly unstoppable. They're impenetrable. You can't really do anything about it. So I honestly think Lakers in 4 or Lakers in 5. One of those two.
I'm going to go with it. There's going to be a lot of high-scoring games this series because those defensive matchups are going to be exploited.
Lakers-Rockets,
every
that's
time.
going to be a high-scoring, very high-scoring.
Very high-scoring. And then when it's Lakers-Clippers, it might not be as high-scoring. But We'll see about that. I mean, it's just I think it's going to be a good series, even if it goes to 4. It's one of those weird times where a sweep is entertaining because James Harden and Russell Westbrook are so fun to watch that you can't say, you know what, I hated watching that because the games are going to be close. I mean, there's probably going to be a Lakers blowout here and there. But I think game 1 is going to be a close game. I'll say it's a close game. But I think the Lakers are going to win it. I think the Lakers are going to take the series in 4 or 5. We'll have Lakers-Clippers. The Clippers will win that. And the Clippers will play the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. Clippers at 5. So that's what I think's going to happen. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, I gave the Celtics a game. But I just don't see the East beating anybody out of the West unless if it's the Rockets or the Nuggets somehow.
I would love to see a Lakers-Heat final. I would love to see that.
I think we want to see Lakers-Celtics, man.
Lakers-Celtics.
Honestly, I could see Lakers
cool
Celtics final.
I want to see the Heat and the Celtics in the finals, and I think that's what's going to happen. Celtics-Heat series in the East. I think we're going to have a very interesting Eastern Conference that's going to get blown out by the West. That's what I think is going to happen this year. The Western Conference Finals is the NBA Finals, in my opinion. But, I mean, hey, we'll see what happens with the Celtics. If they can beat the Lakers, maybe, but that's besides the point.
No, what are we saying? It's going to be Denver Raptors. What do you mean?
Denver Raptors.
Denver Raptors. That's the finals.
I would not watch that. I'm not watching that if it happens.
Horrible final. That'd be a horrible final.
I don't even want to think about it. Sorry, you put that in my head. I'm mad you did that. But
Jokic and
Jokic and
Pascal Siakam.
It's a fun one game. I can't watch it for 7. But I just
like I turn off the TV after the game 1 of the Sixers. And
oh my god!
We get it. You're sad. The Sixers are gone. They're gonna trade Ben Simmons, and we know what's gonna happen. But that's a lot of other topics that we've just brought up in the last 45 seconds that we can talk about another time. Right? Stay tuned. You already know. I'm John, alongside Joel Embiid. Michael Trinidad. There it is. That's what we like to see. Thank you, Joel Embiid, for coming on the show. Anyway. John, Joel, Mike, signing off for On the Break.
The other Joel.
Thank you for watching. The other Joel. Thank you for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you guys for coming on the show. We'll see you later.
Of course, it's always great.